Charcuterie. None of that. It doesn't work here. We're on to you, man. We're on to you. Okay, so, guys, we can get started here. And you know, I'm just going to improvise a little bit. I have a pecking order of who came in, but you know, I got to start with the almighty chair of the Environment and Transportation Committee, because you know that's just the way we roll.
It's because I took your class, I know.
And former student of Brian Feldman, who everybody here knows is the case. Okay, are we streaming? I probably shouldn't have said all that. Memoria, are we streaming? Oh, I didn't mean that to be in the record. Okay, so Chair Corman, we are here on House Bill 1195, and you take the time you need to proceed with House Bill 1195.
Thank you, Professor Feldman, Madam Vice Chair, members of the EEE Committee. Come before you with House Bill 1195. This is a bi-county bill, WSSC Planning and Reporting Act. As heavily amended and negotiated with WSSC, it bolsters oversight of WSSC by placing the Montgomery County Director of Environmental Protection on the Commission, something the Montgomery County Executive supports. Improves WSSC sustainability by setting requirements for an every 5-year long-range comprehensive financial plan. Further addresses long-term sustainability with a report on ad valorem taxes, which is a tool that's available to WSSC in existing law. Makes WSSC more transparent by requiring more information be posted online. I threw that in just for the Vice Chair to make sure she would be supportive of the bill. Reforms the legislatively established WSSC Inspector General. Sets General Assembly intent that WSSC switch to fixed period billing. Pushes for improvements to the high bill adjustment system. Improves WSSC operations via an Inspector General review of a few selected topics that were of interest to different members. And considers WSSC government's improvements via a third-party study that would be done in coordination with the Department of Legislative Services. This bill was unanimous in the House. It was unanimous in all the various delegations, and would ask for a favorable report.
Okay, before you go to Vice Chair Kagan, I should have called up. We do have some WSSC water folks. I've got three, I assume all three. Do we have somebody here? We've got either John Curry, John Reimer. You're here just for information purposes, right? Three of you signed up? Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Do you have time to listen to their informational testimony, and then we'll take questions, and then, okay, I've got, you're going to tell us, okay, well.
You've got the general manager, Mr. Chairman, so. Yeah.
Chair Powell, okay.
Yes.
Chair Powell.
Thank you.
Why don't you lead off, Chair Powell, and we'll just, you've got, take the time you need, and then we'll take questions after that. We do have one virtual witness as well signed up, okay? So you proceed, Chair Powell.
Okay, thank you, Chair Feldman, Vice Chair Kagan, and esteemed members of the Education, Energy, and the Environment Committee. I'm Keisha Powell, General Manager of WSSC Water. Thank you for the opportunity for us to be here today. I'm joined by our CFO, our Director of Customer Service, and the Inspector General, who is to my right. In the interest of time, I'll say that we submitted written testimony. So I think Chair Corman covered the details of the legislation. I want to thank him for working with us to amend the legislation, and also thanks to the other elected officials that we met with and their guidance in this process. I would just like to point out that we have had a financial planning study underway by our financial advisor that will be wrapping up in April. We have also gotten a high bill review underway. We expect to receive that report in April and have committed to sharing that with Delegate Corman and others. We'll actually be doing some work sessions for our county councils, and the scope of work for the independent review. We are doing a portion under management at WSSC Water. That scope has been drafted. We'll coordinate with the Department of Legislative Services, and I know the Inspector General has also been working on the scope of work for their portion as well. But with that, I'm happy to take any questions that you have.
Okay, do we have questions either for Chair Corman or the WSSC Water witness? Everybody else is here just for questions?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, questions? Did you?
No.
Okay. Okay, that concludes bill hearing on House Bill 1195.
Thank you, Mr.
Chair
Chairman.
Corman. Okay, we're next, again, I'm going to go out of order, and not because she's from the 15th Legislative District, but Delegate Chi, why don't you, in the pecking order, it's chairs and then District 15 folks.
Oh, okay.
Just the way
Okay.
it is.
I like that order.
Okay, so you're here on House Bill 1228.
All right.
And you take the time you need, okay?
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, my favorite senator, and and my second favorite senator, Madam Vice Chair. Great to see both of you here. For the record, Delegate Lily Chi here to present HB 1228, which simply requires the Department of Commerce to conduct a study about Montgomery County's agricultural reserve economy. Of course, this bill, which was originally sponsored by myself and several members of the county delegation that represent the agricultural reserve, is now supported by the entire county delegation, including all the senators. So the study builds on the Western Montgomery Economic Summit that the District 15 team led 2 years ago, with participation from many state and county government agencies, as well as local community and business leaders and organizations. As we know, about 1/3 of Montgomery County's land is in agricultural reserve, an area dedicated to agriculture and open space. Ag reserve is a unique and a vibrant asset for our state and the region's economy. While farming plays a major role in ag reserve, there is so much more to ag reserve economy, including tourism, breweries, wineries, artisan shops, historical sites, and the recreational activities that one often cannot find elsewhere. In addition, there are growing opportunities such as food innovation hubs to better leverage our ag reserve and build an ecosystem that better integrates with the larger community and economy and contributes to food innovation, environmental sustainability, and economic vitality. So we hope this study can help us understand better how businesses are currently doing within the agricultural reserve in addition to farming, and what attracts people to those agricultural ag reserve land, and how they engage with local businesses. But most importantly, what we are missing out on in terms of economic opportunities. We have had conversations with the Department of Commerce, which can handle this study with its existing resources, as well as a number of other partnering organizations, such as the Montgomery County Economic Development Corporation, the county's planning department, and Visit Montgomery, et cetera. They are all eager and very willing to participate and share their data sets to save the costs of this study. So we look forward to a favorable report, and thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Questions for Delegate Chi? Okay, seeing none, that concludes the bill hearing on House Bill
Thank you.
1228. Let's go next to Delegate Solomon. Delegate Solomon, you're here on House Bill 1167.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, everybody. It's nice to see you all. For the record, Delegate Solomon here to present House Bill 1167 to my two favorite, I don't have favorites, but my two favorites from our Senate delegation in Montgomery County. So this is a bill to really just clarify really some ambiguities in local code for municipalities, sort of the next level down from the Vice Chairs Rockville and Gaithersburg. So these are for municipalities in Montgomery County that do not have sort of their own full zoning authority, but have some ability to regulate some of the structures within their footprint. So these are the communities in my district of Kensington, all of the various Chevy Chases, Garrett Park, and also includes Tacoma Park. There's 12 of those municipalities in Montgomery County, and I will say all 12 of them support this legislation. So the law that we're tweaking has been on the books since about 2006 from then former Senator, now former Senator Rich Madaleno was the author of that. And there was an Attorney General's ruling as some of the zoning issues in Montgomery County have progressed that created a set of ambiguities around really what type of structures those municipalities were able to regulate. And it actually the AG's opinion kind of opened a little bit of Pandora's box and said that they could theoretically regulate all types of structures, which was never the intended purpose in the 2006 law. So fast forward to today, we've worked for about the last year with all of the municipalities that we mentioned, with the Montgomery County Planning Board, with the council, with the county executive, and have reached what you see here today, which is supported by everybody, supported by the county executive, our council, the planning board, the 12 municipalities. There should be a letter from the 11, and then Tacoma Park also supports it, but that letter was sent just as they were finishing up their local elections. And so they have come out in favor of the legislation as well. It's also supported by unanimously by both our House and Senate delegations. And again, it's really just kind of clarifying what the intended structures are. It's meant to be nothing more than a quadplex, which is 4 units, and also just narrows some of the definitions as well to make it clear that they can't do anything more prohibitive for any multifamily type of unit than they would for single family as well. So with that, would be happy to take any questions. I'm going to ask for a favorable report.
Okay, any questions for Delegate Solomon? Okay, seeing none, that concludes the bill hearing on House Bill 1167.
Yes.
And
Thank you.
next up, let's go to Delegate Charkoudian. I see you right there on House Bill 1207.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I've got one witness with me. Yes. Mr. Chair, Madam Vice Chair, you do know him. You're going to find out why in just a second. For the record, Delegate Lori Charkoudian, asking for a favorable report on House Bill 1207. This bill started as a bill that was addressing the entirety of compensation for the Montgomery County School Board. It's now been narrowed down to only address the compensation for the student member of the school board. And we have with us a former student member of the school board, so he'll be able to speak to you specifically. I'll just tell you what the bill does, why I think it's important. Right now, the Montgomery County student member of the school board is compensated with a scholarship, and so the scholarship is set based on the cost of attending school in the state of Maryland, the public school in the state of Maryland. So that can work really well if you have a student who intends to attend college. It also, but if you, there's 2 situations where that may not work. One is if you have a student who doesn't intend to attend college, and so that's not a compensation for their work appropriately. But the other is we have a lot of students in Montgomery County who can't afford to go a full year without bringing in income to support their households. And so in those cases, they would be working very hard, would not have the time. As members of the school board, they work as hard as other elected members of the school board, do not have time for an additional part-time job. And so what this bill does is it gives the student the option to take the compensation either in terms of stipends or in terms of the scholarship. So it increases the diversity, the economic diversity of those who would be able to serve on the school board, and it increases the diversity of students who might have different kinds of career paths to serve on the school board. That's the simplified version. We can take questions, but I think it would be helpful for you also to hear from a member who really worked incredibly hard. I was very impressed with his work. I've been impressed with all the student members that we've had, but really the comprehensive nature of this, really like a full-time job while they're also in school. And so I think it's really important to hear that perspective.
Okay, sir, you've got up to 2 minutes. Okay, you're going to be on the clock, and tell us your name.
All right, sounds good. I'll keep it brief. So, good afternoon, Chair Feldman, Vice Chair Kagan. Keeping with the theme, my favorite senators, because I know that was said by everyone before. So, my name is Sammy Saeed. As you all know, I was a former student member of the board in Montgomery County, which is my favorite county, of course. But I'll digress. So, I'm currently a student at the University of Maryland studying public policy. And so, I want to talk about this bill because I really believe this is a common sense legislation that really just increases inclusivity for different types of students who want to be student members of the board. So as we've heard right now, student members are compensated with a $25,000 scholarship. However, this is an inherently restrictive system that does not take into account the unique career goals or socioeconomic backgrounds of students who may want to run for student member of the board. So to put it simply, the current compensation system for the student member of the board, quite frankly, discriminates against students who rightfully may not be planning to attend college, as well as students who may need a more direct and faster payment to support themselves or their families. I remember that when I ran for student member of the board, one of the most consistent issues that students brought forward was the lack of diversity the candidates displayed. And I'm not necessarily talking about ethnic or gender diversity, but instead diversity of the backgrounds of each candidate, which made students feel like they were never truly represented. I thought about the issue a lot, and that's when I realized that a student who wants to be a student member of the board but needs to work a job to support their family or doesn't necessarily plan on attending college can't really run for the position because they'll receive absolutely no compensation. So the effect on who can be a board member because of this in turn affects who student members of the board can actually represent and truly just affects the representation that students in Montgomery County, the 160,000 students of Montgomery County, are getting. So if we want a Board of Education and a student member that is reflective of the student population and the overall population of Montgomery County, we need to be able to compensate them apart from just a scholarship and pass this bill. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Questions for Delegate Cherkudian or the witness? Vice Chair Kagan?
Thank you. Sammy, it's nice to see you again.
Nice to see you.
I hope you're enjoying school. First off, you know that the chair is your senator. I'm sure you know that, right?
Yes.
Okay. Lucky you.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do a devil's advocate and just ask you a medium hard question just to see how you answer. How do we make sure that a student doesn't run for SMOB, student member on the Board of Ed, just for the cash?
Yes. So currently, I mean, you can make a case for absolutely anything. Right now, I can make the case, for example, a student member of the board may be running to get the $25,000 to help pay for some college tuition, and that may be the only reason. The fact of the matter is a student member of the board will work in that position, will attend those meetings and put in hard work. However they want to use that money is completely up to their discretion, and they already are getting $25,000 in the form of a scholarship. And I know for a fact that basically every single student member of the board has gone to college in Montgomery County alone. So, under logic of, if we're concerned of their intentions about the money, we wouldn't even give them a scholarship in the first place. But the fact of the matter is that you could say that about a normal Board of Education member. What if they're running just for the money, not to do the job? So that could apply to anyone. So it's not really unique to the student member of the board, and right now that problem would still apply even if this bill went through.
That would be like running for the Senate for the huge, enormous, not either one of those salary. Anyway,
Yeah.
Thank you, Sammy. Thank you,
Yeah,
Mr.
no
Chair.
problem.
Okay, any additional questions? Okay, seeing none, that concludes Bill
Thank you.
hearing.
Thank you.
House Bill 1207. Now let's get some Prince George's action here. We're going to go, I see, well, let's take a little Prince George's and we'll go back to Montgomery here. Wanika Fisher, my friend, former delegate, here on behalf from Prince George's Council, present House Bill 1065. Go to Delegate Valderrama after that, and then we'll go back to Delegate Polakovich-Carr, and then we'll keep going. Okay. We're on House Bill 1065, and or do you want to bring it?
No, I'm sorry, Senator. I wanted to defer to Delegate Valderrama because she
Okay.
had to get back to.
Okay.
her-
Oh, I didn't know she was in committee. Okay.
Yes, I'm so sorry.
Delegate Valderrama, you've got 3 bills, so let's bring you up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And I've got, well.
And Madam
you
Vice
got
Chair.
House Bill,
There's
which are
3.
the bill numbers? Just,
1266, 1065, and 1168.
okay, let's start with House Bill 1266.
Okay, great. Thank you, Madam Chair, Mr. Chair, Madam Vice Chair. For the record, Chris Valderrama here to present on behalf of the Prince George's House delegation. The first bill is House Bill 1266. This was first introduced, legislation sought to investigate into fair zoning and land use in Prince George's County and Montgomery counties. But after discussion, the Bi-County Subcommittee realized that it was really a longstanding Prince George's County problem with our Department of Permitting, Inspections, and Enforcement, otherwise known as DPI, that needed to be sorely addressed. So the bill was amended to, 1, exclude Montgomery County, 2, establish a diverse task force to examine issues with that department, and 3rd, to require the task force to report back to the Prince George's delegation next year so that improvements can be introduced during the 2027 session. And so I would say, since this bill only impacts Prince George's County, I would request a favorable report, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, actually, we did have, is Daryl Carrington, actually, we did have another witness or two on this one. Okay, the mayor of Greenbelt here. I don't think it's Emmett Jordan, I know him. Who's here on House Bill 1266? City manager of Greenbelt.
Doesn't look like they're here.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Senator Augustine.
Thank you. It's good to see you, Delegate Valderrama. I just want to let you know that the Department of Planning submitted a letter of opposition. Did you see it?
Yes.
And can you respond to that for us?
No, I cannot. Other than it was amended and they still opposed it, but the bill sponsor, Delegate Alston, I will just say, pushed it through.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, is there somebody from City of Greenbelt here? Okay, Senator Watson, did you have a question for Delegate Valderrama?
Yes, I do. So if the county just went through a humongous zoning rewrite, why do we need this bill?
I would defer that question to Delegate Alston.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Okay, any additional questions for Delegate Valderrama? Okay, seeing none, that concludes the bill hearing on House Bill 1266. Let's next move to House Bill 1168. That was one of the other bills.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Chris.
Thank you very much. 1168.
And also, before you do
sorry.
that, Chris, we've got, is John Curry from WSSC Water here? Why don't you come up and
Okay.
sit next to Delegate Valderrama? You're also signed up favorable, so those are the just two witnesses. So
Hello.
Delegate Valderrama, why don't you proceed with House Bill 1168?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Madam Vice Chair. Chris Valderrama here to present House Bill 1168. Again, this came through the Bi-County Subcommittee in the Prince George's House Delegation. So right now, under current law, service rates consist of a service rate which consists of a minimum ready-to-serve charge and a charge for water used. This legislation seeks to authorize WSSC to include an infrastructure component which codifies existing law, and the bill also authorizes the establishment of customer classes within any given meter size. I would request a favorable report.
Okay, thank you. Sir, Mr. Curry, you're here signed up favorable.
Yes, good afternoon, Chair Feldman and members of the Education, Energy, and Environment Committee. My name is John Curry, and I'm the Director of Customer Service at WSSC Water. I support HB 1168, Washington Suburban Sanitary Commission service charges, and you have my written testimony. I'm happy to answer any questions and look for a favorable report.
Questions for the Delegate Valderrama or our witness, Mr. Curry? Yes, Senator Augustine.
I feel, did we already have a letter as it relates to this piece of legislation from the delegation? A delegation letter? Do you know? Do you know if you presented this to the Senate delegation, Prince George's Senate delegation?
Our internal government relations, they've presented this through this process. I can't speak to the exact presentations they've done.
All right, thank you. All right.
Okay, any additional questions? Okay, seeing none, that concludes bill hearing on House Bill 1168. It's just, thank you, sir. One more, Delegate Valderrama and Wanika, you were signed up, both of you are on House Bill 1065. So, and Jabari Cooper, and then we'll go to Julie Polakovich Carr after this. So, I don't know who went, Delegate Valderrama, you want to take the lead, and we've got backup with former Delegate Wanika Fisher and Mr. Cooper on House Bill 1065.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Madam Vice Chair. Again, for the record, Chris Valderrama presenting House Bill, or MCPG 10625, but House Bill 1065, sorry about that. Just in summary, the bill provides that Prince George's County Council must appoint at least 3 members rather than just 3 total to Prince George's County Board of Zoning Appeals. Additionally, the simple majority of the board must concur in any resolution by the board, but I know that the Senate delegation amended that to 5, and I understand that everyone is in agreement with that, so I would urge a favorable report.
Okay.
Okay, I might have misspoke, but it was my understanding that it was agreed upon with the, I meant the Senate delegation supported it.
Okay.
There we go. I thought I said that.
Well, we'll figure,
Yeah.
Prince George is very well represented on this committee by Senators Washington and Augustine. We'll clarify all that.
Okay, no, but
It's all good.
I didn't misspeak. I guess they have,
Okay, here, we got to go in the pecking order. Former delegate Winika Fisher / Councilwoman Winika Fisher has to be next up.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chair, Madam Vice Chair. I love the matching outfit today with the blue. It just looks so, it's very nice. Well, thank you all to this illustrious committee and Senator Washington, who I miss very much. Thank you, committee, for today. I'm going to defer to Mr. Cooper more about this bill, but yes, we did need to change our Board of Appeals. We had a lot of issues when it came to attendance, and for those that might not know, a Board of Appeals for a county it'll be everything from appealing your ticket citation from DPI to other things. So it's many administrative decisions that are made through county government that go to that entity. So we did have a little bit of a miscommunication about the 5 amendment, and I'll let Mr. Cooper explain that part.
That is correct. Thank you, Chair Feldman. We would like to kind of support this version as it came out of the House, as House Bill 1065, and I've spoken with our Senator Rosa Pepp and Senator Jackson about the language that has been introduced during that meeting, and they were also in agreement that we would like to go to the language of having at least 3 versus 5 due to the added fiscal costs of having 5 members on the board, given our tight budget that we're working with this year.
Okay, we're probably going to need a delegation letter of some sort.
And correct.
Memorializing what you just said. So, okay, any questions for our 3 witnesses? Okay, seeing none, that concludes bill hearing on House Bill 1065. We're going to go now to Delegate Polakovich-Carr on behalf of Montgomery County Delegation and Prince George's, House Bill 1064. I do have, there are 2, well, Cheryl Gannon here. Is Cheryl Gannon here? Why don't you come up? You did sign up on this bill, and then do we have, is our virtual witnesses? We have 1 virtual witness signed up favorable from Montgomery, the planning board. So we'll take that person, the virtual witness, next. So Delegate Polakovich-Carr, House Bill 1064.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For the record, Delegate Julie Polakovich-Carr here to present House Bill 1064. This is a bi-county bill that just impacts Montgomery and Prince George's counties, makes some tweaks to the live streaming requirements for the Montgomery County Planning Board and the Washington Suburban Sanitary Commission. Both those entities are in full support of this bill, and we do have unanimous support from both the Prince George's and Montgomery County Senate and House delegations.
Okay, thank you, Delegate Polakovich-Carr. And Ms. Gannon, you're here on behalf of the Montgomery County Civic Federation?
That's right.
Accurate? Okay.
Yes, thank you.
You have up to 2 minutes to weigh
Okay.
in here.
My name is Cheryl Gannon. I'm the president of the Montgomery County Civic Federation, a 100-year-old umbrella organization of neighborhood civics across the county, reaching over 30,000 households. We have a strong commitment to a transparent planning process. Under HB 1064, the planning board would only be required to live stream video or audio at the headquarters or a location where the board held at least 10 meetings during the immediately preceding calendar year. We believe it's reasonable to allow flexibility to the planning board for certain meetings like site visits or field trips, but there should be guardrails to preserve the important goals of the Open Meetings Act. And we have a model for this already, thanks to years of work by Senator Kagan. The Open Meetings Act General Provisions Article, Section 3-307, enumerates 19 state agencies that are required to stream their meetings and provides for this same flexibility for off-site meetings, while balancing this flexibility with protections for public access by requiring that agendas be frozen and materials posted 48 hours before a meeting and prompt posting of the minutes of meetings. The Montgomery Planning Board and WSSC could be added to this list of agencies, number 20 and 21. This approach avoids creating a separate set of rules for these two agencies, different from what the 19 are currently following. We see no reason to carve out different procedures for these two agencies separate from the existing law that 19 agencies are operating under. Recently, the Planning Board made a change to its long-standing witness sign-up deadline from Wednesday at noon to Tuesday at noon for Thursday meetings. It's entirely reasonable to ask that staff packets and agendas be available in this same time window, 48 hours in advance, so that the public can review the agenda and materials. The Planning Board's frequent last-minute agenda changes and incomplete posting of materials works against public access and participation and the goals of the Open Meetings Act. Please amend this bill and add it to the agencies in the existing Section 3-307.
Okay, thank you. Can we, Lemoria, just pull up our one, we have one additional witness at virtual. Let's get the witness in here who signed up favorable. Okay, Jordan, you've got up to 2 minutes. You've signed up favorable. Tell us your full name and you can proceed after that, okay?
Yes, no problem. Greeting Chairman Feldman and the rest of the committee. My name is Jordan Baucom-Colbert. I'm the Government Affairs Liaison in the Office of General Counsel for the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission. And I'll just be brief. Our board has voted to support HB 1064 as is. We submitted written testimony for the record as well. The commission provides inclusive and transparent engagement at the planning board, the planning department, and our parks department. The commission has worked closely with the bill sponsor on this bill, and we fully support the bill. We ask that the delegation take into consideration our written testimony and offer a favorable report on this bill as is. Thank you.
Okay, any questions for Delegate Polakovich-Carr or the two witnesses? Senator Augustine.
Thank you, Delegate Polakovich-Carr. There's opposition testimony here from the Montgomery County Executive, and I also do not see testimony from those who are actually impacted, WSSC. Can you explain that?
For WSSC, I can say that they did provide testimony, I know, on the House side, and as it went through delegation in support of the bill, and did testify before both the Montgomery County and Prince George's County delegations in support of the bill. So just on record for that.
I misspoke. I see it. I see it.
And then I will just say, in terms of my county executive's opposition, that the posture of the bill right now is still requiring both of these entities to supersede the requirements of the Open Meetings Act. So the bill before you still says that these two bodies have to do more than almost any other public body in the state in terms of the requirements that they need to do.
And so that's his objection?
I think there's some other issues at play. I'll just say that. I don't think.
Okay. Thanks.
That was kind of an intriguing response. We'll find out behind the scenes. Okay. Did you have a question? You have any question?
I was going to ask exactly the same thing. My county.
Okay, we'll get clarification about the county executive's position on this one.
And actually, I do believe that the county council, as the bill was moving through my delegation, did vote to support the bill. So I think Montgomery County Council is in support of the bill.
Okay. Okay, any additional questions for any of the witnesses? Seeing none, that concludes the bill here on House Bill 1064. Delegate Polakovich-Carr, why don't you stay up there for House Bill 1169? And we do have one witness unfavorable from the Board of Education of Howard County. This is kind of an interesting process question. So in any event, House Bill 1169.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And for the record, Delegate Julie Polakovich-Carr presenting this bill as chair of the Montgomery County House Delegation. This bill really recognizes the incredible diversity of Montgomery and Howard counties and requires that those two public school districts have certain holidays be provided as days off from school for students. And I do want to commend both the Montgomery County and the Howard County school boards. They actually have already recognized the importance of these holidays. And if you look ahead to next academic year's calendar, in fact, all the holidays that are outlined in the bill are already set aside as days off for students for next year. This bill really is just about making sure that that continues to be the case going forward, given, again, the incredible diversity of both Montgomery and Howard counties.
Okay, I got to ask you a process question. So somehow Howard County got onto this bill. We don't have any letter from the Howard County delegation. In fact, I'm not sure if they actually took a vote to not support being on here. So could you just clarify a little bit for me how Howard County now is part of this?
Yeah, and I would just ask the committee to follow up with the Howard County delegation. This bill started as solely a Montgomery County delegation, and our delegation did vote unanimously in the House to support this legislation. It was after the bill had left our hands that Howard County got added.
Okay. We actually have one witness. You don't have to stick around. We do have one, but thank you, Delegate Polakovich-Carr. We have a witness unfavorable from the Board of Education of Howard County. And so, Jennifer Mallow, you've got 2 minutes to explain your unfavorable position on this piece of legislation.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Feldman, Vice Chair Kagan, and members of the Education, Energy, and Environment Committee. My name is Jennifer Swickard-Mallow, and I am here to offer testimony in opposition to HB 1169 on behalf of the Board of Education of Howard County. I serve both as a board member and chair of the board's legislative committee. As a local elected body, the Howard County Board of Education is responsible for setting the governing policies for the Howard County Public School System, managing a $1 billion budget, employing nearly 9,000 employees, educating 57,000 students, and conducting responsible stewardship of taxpayer revenues. Given the significant obligation entrusted to us by the voters and intimate understanding of the school system's operations, we believe the board is the entity that should have the authority to set the local school system calendar. While the board's written testimony outlines much more details regarding the calendar setting process in Howard County, I want to focus on one particular concern that had not been an issue until this legislation was introduced. Holidays proposed under HB 1169, particularly those that are based on the lunar calendar, are often not set until the days or weeks leading up to the event. A recent example of this is the celebration of Eid al-Fitr. As of the writing of this testimony last week, simply searching on the date of the holiday online would indicate that the holiday would likely fall around March 30th if the moon was visible on the 29th. However, it could have been the 29th, 30th, or 31st. A common practice is that Eid begins when Saudi Arabia declares that the crescent moon has been sighted, marking the end of Ramadan and the start of Eid al-Fitr. If HB 1169 were to pass, HCPSS could very easily end up being out of compliance at the last minute without any practical way to shift the dates. Under current practice, calendar planning and setting typically starts 2 years in advance of the school year. The HCPSS Calendar Committee makes recommendations to account for operational impacts and honor the holiday celebrations listed in 1169. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Questions? Okay, seeing none, that concludes the bill here on House Bill 1169. Thank you, Delegate Polakovich-Carr. Is Delegate Morgan here?
Is.
Oh, you're hiding behind the podium. Okay.
I want to make sure that I want to.
Yes, we can. And then we'll go to Delegate Crutchfield next. Okay, House Bill 480, here on behalf of the St. Mary's County Delegation, House Bill 480.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Todd Morgan on behalf of St. Mary's County. County bill here from our Metropolitan Commission. The bill basically says the St. Mary's Metropolitan Commission services over 15,000 households. Currently, the St. Mary's County has specific additional requirements on sewer planning not required in other Maryland jurisdictions. The Commissioners and Planning Commission must approve any updates and change to the water and sewer plans, requiring 2 public hearings, one before the Commissioners of St. Mary's County and one before the Planning Commission. Public meetings before the Planning Commission are seldom attended by the public. These additional hearings add unnecessary burdens, times, and delays in the review process. Removing the requirement of the Planning Commission would bring St. Mary's County public meeting requirement in line with the rest of the state, allowing for public input and approval. I look for a favorable report on this bill, and all the necessary documentation should be in your folder.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Delegate Morgan? Okay, seeing none, that concludes House Bill 480. Delegate Morgan, we're going to go now to St. Mary's County Delegation, House Bill 491. And on this one, I do have 2 witnesses signed up. I don't know if they're here. George Erickson, is Mr. Erickson here?
Mr. Erickson's not here. He had a problem with his father. Okay. He's in the hospital.
And what about Robin Beaver? Is Robin Beaver here?
He's not here either.
Okay.
Unless he's on that video screen somewhere.
It's all you.
Thank you, sir.
Morgan.
I'm here, Todd B. Morgan, on behalf of St. Mary's County, asking for a favorable report on HB 491. Basically, this bill will provide the authority and flexibility for discontinuance of service caused by accidental incidents, i.e. fires, man-made vandalism, or natural disasters, and temporary relief, suspension of certain charges until service is recharged. Currently, the only provision we have available is to discontinue service for non-payment. B, ensures consistency with the balance of the chapter, which addresses both public water and sewer and removes confusing and outdated text. And 3, enables the commission to recoup actual costs, i.e. time and materials, in excess of $1,000 resulting from damage to public utilities caused by third parties, which should not be borne by the commission's customers. I ask for favorable report.
Okay, questions for Delegate Morgan? Senator Augustine.
Bill's fine. Did you go to opening day yesterday?
I did. Great game.
Okay,
Thank you. Wasn't going to miss baseball. Can miss committee, but I'm not going to miss baseball.
Okay.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Any additional questions? Seeing none, that concludes Bill hearing on House Bill 491. Let's go to Delegate Crutchfield next. House Bill 964. Welcome, Charlotte. And
Thank you, Senators.
We do have one witness in the virtual queue, so we'll take your testimony, we'll take who signed up favorable, and then we'll take them, and then we'll take any questions. So take the time you need. House Bill 964.
Thank you very much, Senator Feldman, and also great to see you as well, Senator Kagan, and all the other senators. I seem to work with quite a few of you. For the record, I'm Delegate Charlotte Crutchfield, representing District 19, Montgomery County, and I'm here to testify in favor of HB 964, which is a task force on the displacement of residents of Emery Grove, which is located in Montgomery County. This legislation is necessary to understand the urban renewal policies and procedures pursued by Montgomery County from late 1960 until about 1985, which affected a specifically historically black neighborhood in Emery, which is called Emery Grove in Montgomery County. Emery Grove was founded shortly after the Civil War when several freedmen were able to purchase property which was considered to be rocky and unusual and unsaleable for farming. The community was self-contained. It had a business district, a recreation park, and it was anchored by its church, the Emery Grove United Methodist Church. The community actually thrived for over 100 years. Efforts around what's called urban renewal were sparked in the 1960s after Montgomery County actually passed an ordinance which required all homes to have public sewer and also water. Emery Grove at the time most of the homes did not have this. And so it was designated as one of the first areas in Montgomery County to be actually affected by urban renewal. The urban renewal project in Emery Grove, actually, there were lots of promises made to people there. One of the biggest promises was that there would be new homes built, and those homes would have sewer and water. Also, there was this designation that there would be approximately 300 new townhouses and single-family homes as well, and that unfortunately did not occur. There was also supposed to be some special financing available, and then roads and infrastructure were supposed to be built. The problem that happened in Emery Grove is the fact that it took over 8 years for there actually to be new properties built there. Unfortunately, they were not the single-family homes or the townhouses promised. They were actually what would be considered Section 8 properties, because as a part of urban renewal, it was required that properties be built about a mile away from the original location wherever urban renewal was happening, and it had to be subsidized housing. So what was promised there really didn't happen. There were condemnation actions that happened. The entire community was decimated. In fact, it never actually came back. And right now, even till today, the only evidence of really there being a true community there is the fact that there still is a church there, and that's the Emery Grove United Methodist Church. And so, it's a very unfortunate story. It's one that's happened all over the country, I know. But however, what concerns me most is that this is in my district in Montgomery County, and that this occurred. And when you speak to people, the older people, especially that attend the church, it is clear that they are very concerned and want questions about what actually happened, because they were never really told what happened. All they know is they sold their property, and that is it. So that is the reason why I'm asking for a favorable report on this particular legislation. You will hear from the church minister that is currently there at Emery Grove United Methodist Church, and that is Reverend Tim Warner next. So I appreciate the time, the opportunity to speak to you about a very important issue to me. Thank you.
Okay, well, we do have Reverend Warner. Let's pull him up. Signed up favorable.
can may I do a quick thing?
Sure.
Sorry. Delegate Crutchfield, while we're waiting for wonderful Tim Warner to join us, I just want to flag for you, I think we're going to need a small amendment on page 2, lines 3 and 4. It is no longer called the Montgomery County Historical Society. It renamed itself a while ago for Montgomery History.
Okay, thank you.
Technical amendment, if that's okay.
Okay.
Okay. And their director is terrific, and they're located, of course, in District 17.
Okay, Moria, do we have the Reverend? Might be having a little technical difficulty. Reverend, if you can hear me, if you could start your video, or unmute yourself, if you can hear me. Okay, I think we've located you, Reverend. Okay, Reverend
Thank
Tim
you.
Warner, we've been anxiously waiting for the technical glitch to resolve itself, so now you're weighing in on House Bill 964, favorable, and you've got Delegate Crutchfield here as well. So you've got up to 2 minutes to weigh in, okay?
Thank you. I appreciate it. I've had a medical procedure today, but I think this is essentially important. So I sort of persevered the delays. You have formal written testimony. I won't bother to reread that for you, but I just want to say how important this bill is to the community. This is a foundational African-American community that was destroyed by urban renewal and has suffered significant social and familial issues since then. We at the church have done an awful lot to try and revive it, forming a nonprofit to rebuild the community. And we have certainly garnered a lot of community support to get it done. But the underlying issues still remain. And so I need to commend Delegate Crutchfield for giving our local government both an opportunity and a responsibility in this. We, as local government, have to at least ask the question, what happened here? Who was harmed? Who did what to whom? Policy-wise, how did it work and how did it not work? In order to get to the second question is, and that is, how do we resolve these issues? There will be bricks and mortar here at some point in time. We expect we're leading in the building of 550 units of housing across the full spectrum of affordability. But what remains is a damaged people. And we need to figure out what we can do as a community, as a local government, a state government, to rectify that. So I strongly urge the passage of this bill so that we can sort of get to the bottom of it, particularly knowing that there are more than 40 other communities just like this in Montgomery County that have suffered the same or similar process through the 70s. So I urge the passage of this bill. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Senator Washington, you had a question?
Thank you, Delegate Crutchfield, my colleague in fighting for women's pre-release, and so we're moving forward. We're almost there. And also, this bill is very important as well. I just noticed on it that the bill that you don't have a senator or a delegate, on it, and so I'm trying to make sure that it's a state. Because we can it's appropriate for us to ask for reports from local government, but can you tell me why there wouldn't be a senator or a delegate on the commission or on the task force?
Well, I really wanted it to report back to the Montgomery County delegation. So I kind of was thinking of it more in that way than just having someone from the state on the commission, on the task force itself. So that's the only reason why. I just, I felt like there were more people that were more important to understand it and to really do the research on it than necessarily just having, but you're right, that is a good point.
Right, well,
I appreciate that.
Like an amendment to add a delegate and a senator to be a part of the learning. That's just my
my thought and possibly planning or something like that. Okay, cool, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Vice Chair Kagan.
I've already asked made my comment, asked my question to the good delegate Crutchfield. Reverend Warner, I'm sorry for your procedure. I hope you feel better soon, and tell that beautiful wife of yours to give her a hug. We have missed having you give the invocation here in the Senate this year. So
Well,
maybe
we
we'll see you
can
back next
remedy
year.
that. Thank you.
All right. Big hugs. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, additional questions? Okay, seeing none, that concludes bill hearing on House Bill 964.
Thank you.
Who's here for House Bill 1230 on behalf of the Montgomery delegation and Prince George's delegation? Come on up. House Bill 1230. And sir, tell us your name, and you can then proceed. You can take the time you need since you're here on behalf of 2 county delegations, okay? House Bill 1230.
Good afternoon, Chair Feldman, Vice Chair Kagan, and the committee members. For the record, my name is Courtney Fullwood. I am the legislative intern, and I'm here on behalf of Delegate Moon. I apologize the delegate couldn't make it today, but I'm happy to present the bill on his behalf and answer any questions or get back to you if I can. House Bill 1230 was born out of a bill Delegate Moon brought forth to this committee, which authorized Prince George's and Montgomery County Councils to grant exemptions from system development charges. Delegate Moon's 2017 bill expanded the exempted categories to include child care or after-school care facilities. Under current law, full or partial exemptions are offered to revitalization projects, nonprofits owned by a community-based organization where the primary mission and purpose of the organization is to provide recreation and educational programs and services to youth. Properties used primarily for programs and services for developmentally disabled individuals, mixed-use retirement developments, elderly housing, manufacturing or biotechnology research and development, child care, or after-school care facilities. Under current law, county councils are permitted to allocate up to $500,000 per year on exemptions, with remaining funds rolling over to the next fiscal year. Currently, there's between $6 to $7 million in unused funding for these exemptions. Unfortunately, not every exempted category is aware that there is an exemption possibility under current law. In Delegate Moon's district, a recent child care facility opened last fall and never applied for the exemption because they were not aware that such an exemption was in place. This would have saved the facility $48,305. To help ensure that exempted entities receive this credit, this bill requires rather than allows Montgomery and Prince George's County to grant these exemptions to ensure eligible applicants receive exemptions on a first-come, first-served basis. It also requires an annual report from Montgomery County and all SDC exemptions granted, including a brief overview of the process, how much money was exempted, and for what exempted purposes. Additionally, as many of these properties are rented or leased, the bill prohibits the Montgomery County Council from requiring property ownership as a condition for exemption applications. There is one amendment to this bill that adds Prince George's County to the reporting requirements, after requests from Prince George's County locals to be included. Additionally, the amendment clarifies the reporting process, specifying that counties must include details on the process to identify the qualifying housing projects, the number of housing projects granted exemptions, and the number of housing units included in each project. Overall, the main intent of this bill is to ensure this crucial program does not continue to be overlooked. We want to make sure qualified folks get access to this funding. I respectfully urge the committee to support HB 1230, and thank you for all your consideration.
Okay, thank you. We have a question from Senator Augustine.
So where's the money come from? I'm just trying to get caught up here.
If I remember correctly, the money was coming from the county, and it's been saving up and rolling over for this particular fund.
Okay, I would really, really want to get clarification on that.
Okay.
Because it appears to me that there's shall language for Montgomery County and not as far as the grants in May language for Prince George's. Maybe I'm misreading that, but it doesn't look like it's the same for each. And so I would just be very much wanting to understand where it's coming from, where the money is coming from for it.
Okay, we could get back to you on that.
All right, thank you.
Any additional questions? Okay, seeing none, that concludes bill hearing on House Bill 1230, which brings us to our final bill of the day. I know Chris Adams was here earlier. It looks like you're here on his behalf on House Bill 1524. And so we do have a couple of witnesses, one virtual, one in person. Is anybody else here for House Bill 1524? Is Mr. Askew? Mr. What's your name? Yeah, come on up. You sound up favorable. Looks like you. And then we've got one virtual witness, Lemoria. Is that person in the queue too? Okay, and that'll be the extent of the testimony. So tell us who you are, and I assume you're here on behalf of Delegate Chris Adams.
I am. Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and Madam Vice Chair. My name is Betsy Hamilton. I'm presenting on behalf of Delegate Adams. I'm his legislative assistant. I'm presenting Wycomico County Board of Education, election of member, student member, and compensation, House Bill 1524. This bill adds at least one non-voting student member to the Wycomico County Board of Education and authorizes the board to grant a scholarship to a student member. It also requires that beginning with the general election in 2026, the 7 elected members of the board must each be elected from one of the 7 councilmanic districts in the county. As a result, there are no at-large members on the board under the bill. The bill also authorizes the Wycomico County Council to set a salary greater than the current annual compensation amounts required for elected members and board chair, which respectively is $37,000 and $4,000. Elected and student members are entitled to reimbursement for travel and other expenses as provided in the county board's budget upon submission of vouchers in accordance with rules and regulations adopted by the board. A student member is not entitled to any compensation or payment beyond reimbursement for expenses incurred in their capacity as a board member, and the scholarship is authorized by the county board. As you know, this bill was supported by the Wycomico County Council, the Wycomico County Board of Education, and passed out of the House and our committee. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Askew, you're going to be on the up to 2-minute clock.
All right, good morning, Chair Feldman, Vice Chair Kagan, and members of the committee. My name is Cameron Askew. I'm one of Governor Moore's appointees to the Maryland Youth Advisory Council, and I'm here today on behalf of the council to show our support for House Bill 1524, specifically the bill's provisions establishing a student member of the board to the Wycomico County Board of Education. This aspect of the bill is in direct alignment with our legislative priorities this year, as we support student representation in a number of bodies, but especially within local boards of education. In recent years, the council has been home to several student board members from Washington and Calvert counties, and one of our current members, Omari Barnes, was recently appointed by Governor Moore to serve as the next Maryland student member of the board, so we're very familiar with the work of these student members. We're very happy to support the Wycomico County delegation in moving this bill forward, and we request a favorable report on this bill from the committee. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Before we go to any questions, we have one virtual witness I'd like to get in here, final witness of the day. Ibrahim Gadam, I think he was in here earlier. Yeah, why don't you, Mr. Gadam, can you, yep, there you go. Sir, you've got up to 2 minutes. You've signed up favorable on House Bill 1524.
Yes. Good afternoon, Chair Feldman, Vice Chair Kagan, and members of the committee. My name is Abhiram Gadam, and I'm a proud student of Wycomico County Public Schools. So today I'm here to testify in strong support of House Bill 1524, which I believe to be a crucial bill for ensuring that Wycomico County students now have a meaningful voice in the boardroom decisions that affect their lives and futures. And it was covered what the bill was at its core, but in my testimony, I'd like to focus especially on its establishment of a student member position. And although the consent decree mandates these changes, this bill should not just be seen as legal compliance. I think it's a long overdue step towards ensuring that student voices are not just heard, but also seen as a very valuable contributing force in the decision-making process. And right now, Wycomico does have student representatives from each of our 4 high schools who rotate through board meetings. but the role is very limited. They provide short reports on school activities, but they can't advocate for their peers. And it's not because they don't care, but because their role isn't designed for it. So they're able to speak to the board, but not with the board as a body. And this distinction matters because a student member changes this dynamic significantly. It allows for consistent student representation across all schools and all grade levels, and allows for someone who can raise student concerns, offer insights to the board, and inform students of these decisions. And as a student member myself on the Maryland State Board of Education, and having connected with other student members from counties across the state, we're all united that the voice does matter. And now the role that this bill outlines still isn't perfect. The lack of voting rights and limited access to closed sessions hinders the student members' ability to fully participate in decision-making on critical issues, but it's a limitation that can be addressed in the future, and this is a significant step towards our representation. So for these reasons, I urge the committee to give House Bill 1524 a favorable report. Thank you for your time.
Okay, we'll take some questions. Let's start from the senator from the Eastern Shore, Senator Carrozza.
Thank you, and I am the proud Senate sponsor of this legislation. I want to thank Chair Delegate Adams, who's the chair of the Eastern Shore delegation, and the Wycomico County delegation for moving the bill. On the House side, I again appreciate the representation from the governor's office and from Wycomico County schools, and just wanted to also note, if it's not in the file already, that this is supported by the Wycomico County Senate delegation, which includes Senator Johnny Mounts and myself. So,
okay, Vice Chair. Vice Chair Kagan had a question.
Cameron, when I first came to the Senate, I appointed a young friend and constituent of mine I encouraged that the governor appoint this young friend and constituent, and he was appointed. And his name is Delegate Joe Vogel.
Really?
So just saying, when you serve on this board and you get to make policy and you get to connect with people, who knows what your future might be. Maybe you'll end up serving as a colleague with the good Senator Carrozza down the road. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
So. Yeah, well, we started today with Delegate Corman, former my student. He still call me professor here. It's really weird, but I really, again, we're streaming. I really shouldn't be saying all this stuff. Okay. Yes, we do have a question from Senator Augustine.
Yeah, there was a mention of a consent decree, and I know that Wycomico has had a lot of different troubles. They've had consent decree as it relates to against students with disabilities. They've also had it Voting Rights Act violations in Wycomico, and I think there was also one around discipline, particularly for African Americans. Which one are you referring to of all those different situations that are happening in Wycomico?
If the senator would like to
I can respond to that.
But I can leave a copy here for your review.
Okay, here, let's keep process here. So directing the question to the panel.
it was to
Senator
the panel.
Carrozza can certainly weigh in. Questions
We have
directed.
the consent decree right here, so Delegate Adams is happy for me to leave that here for your review.
I'm just asking which one, because there's many, unfortunately, that have occurred in Wycomico.
So this consent decree, are you asking for, I'm sorry, but I'm not
That's
quite
fine.
sure
You can
what
just
the
share it
answer
with me
would
and I'll be able to figure it out.
I will share it with you, and
Thank you.
Senator Carrozza may know the answer to that.
Okay, Senator Carrozza, if you want to weigh in, then we'll go to Delegate Attar after that.
I just wanted to share that this was a settlement between the Wycomico branch of the NAACP and Wycomico County. As soon as it was settled, and I believe it was settled February 11th, we were given the request. The settlement agreement requires the Wycomico County Board of Education to request the legislation this session from the Maryland General Assembly to establish a permanent student board member position on the Wycomico County Board of Education. And here's the quote, "and shall use best efforts to encourage the Maryland General Assembly to enact legislation adopting 7 single-member district with the same boundaries as the county council district map for the Board of Education, and to move forward as soon as practicable." So the request came in, I believe, on the settlement was February 11th, and even though it was a late request, we put forward the legislation as soon as we received it.
Okay, Delegate Attar.
Thank
you. Senator Todd.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just have to give a shout out to Cameron, who will hopefully be my next colleague, as he's a District 41 resident. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Well represented.
Yep, District 41.
Well, you're well represented in the State Senate of Maryland. Any final questions for any of the witnesses on House Bill 1524? Seeing none, that concludes bill hearings on House Bill 1524. Concludes our bill hearings for today, and I will see you on the floor at 5:30.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator Croza.